Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Shreya Dhoundial. As always, very good to see you. A week ago, a BJP MP from Delhi, Parvesh Verma, made some pretty inflammatory statements at a Hindu Sabha. He essentially called for a boycott of Muslims, saying, if we have to fix their heads, akal thikane lani hai, we need to boycott them. Interestingly, the Delhi police did take suo motu cognizance of the matter, but registered an FIR against the organizers of the event, not the MP. Now, is Mr. Verma the only expert in hate speeches in India? Well, no, but he's a repeat offender, which is why I mention him. He was, in fact, one of the people in focus today when the Supreme Court of India made some of its strongest comments on hate speech in India. The court, in exasperation, said, what have we reduced God to? They have also passed orders that now put the onus on the police to control hate speeches. But where does freedom of speech end and hate speech begin? How can the police stop it when it is the poison of choice for Indian politics? That's our top focus on Urban Debate this evening. Let's, as always, though, start with the headlines. What have we reduced God to? The Supreme Court reads the Riot Act on hate speech, tells the police not to wait for a complaint to take action. After the outrage over VVIP culture, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi withdraws the SOP for treatment of MPs. Resident doctors say it's a move in the right direction. All 5 on board the army chopper that crashed in Arunachal Pradesh have been killed. Their bodies have been recovered. The helicopter was the newly inducted HAL maid Rudra. A court of inquiry has been instituted. It's Diwali in jail for many Maha Vikas Aghadi netas. Sena leader Sanjay Raut's judicial custody has been extended for 13 days. Former Maharashtra Minister Anil Deshmukh's bail plea has been rejected by the CBI court. And Toshkhana troubles for Imran Khan. He's banned from holding public office in Pakistan for 5 years for selling off gifts he got as Prime Minister from Saudi royalty. The Supreme Court today has said and done something that is not a day too early. Hearing petitions on growing hate speeches in the country, they said, and I quote, "This is the 21st century. What have we reduced God to?" Article 51 says we should have a scientific temper, and in the name of religion, this is tragic. This is what the Supreme Court has said. Now, as the petitioner listed various instances of hate speech, including that of BJP MP Parvesh Verma, the court said the complaint seems to be very serious as a climate of hate has come to prevail in the country. The matter needs examination. We feel the court is tasked to protect fundamental rights and preserve the rule of law. The court further on going on to say these statements are certainly very strong for a country that professes to be a democracy and religion neutral. You are saying that anything said to be offensive, regardless of guarantee of freedom of free speech, there should be some action. Now, the Supreme Court has not just stopped at saying these things. They have, in fact, issued orders. They have clearly told the police that they don't have to wait for a complaint to act against people who make hate speeches. They need to take suo motu cognizance, says the Supreme Court. And if authorities fail, the court has said they, which means the authorities, will have to face contempt. So these are the strongest words yet that are coming in to us from the Supreme Court as far as hate speeches are concerned. What do our politicians and our panel think about it? Dr. Shatorupa is a BJP leader joining us on the broadcast. Mithun Vijay Kumar is a political analyst. Ashutosh, again, a political analyst. Sanjay Jha is an author. And we have Mahima Singh of the Congress Party joining us on the broadcast. Can I come to you first, Dr. Shatorupa? And I come to you first simply because in focus today, when the Supreme Court made its observations, was the case of one of your MPs, Parvesh Verma. He essentially has called for a boycott of Muslims. The Delhi police did take suo motu cognizance on the matter, but they haven't registered a complaint against your MP. They have registered a complaint against the organizers. I want to ask you, in light of what the Supreme Court has said today, is Mr. Verma being sacked by the BJP?
Good evening, Shreya. No, I really don't know because I haven't heard Mr. Verma. I mean, I haven't heard the speech directly, so I will not be able to comment the speech. I want to comment directly on what the observation made by the Supreme Court. I think it's a very welcome observation because yes, even as I speak as a BJP spokesperson, it is pretty shameful that both sides have known to have gone into extremes as far as accusations of both religions are concerned. While you are blaming the MP, I'm not very sure of what he said because I haven't heard it. There have been several hate speeches from the other side as well. Our Hindu gods and goddesses have been mocked severally, and they've been humiliated. Our religion has been humiliated on several occasions. So I hope this is taken cognizance of by the entire India, all the communities, not only Hindus and Muslims. It is high time we learn to respect each other's community because we are, like you very correctly said, we are a secular country. So that means the country has no official religion. Then that means that you cannot be accused of, appeasing any one community. So secularism cannot be equated to anything anti-Hindu. Whatever is anti-Hindu becomes anti-Muslim becomes secular. Sorry, anti-Hindu becomes very secular. This is not correct. So it has to be both ways. There has to be a balance. And yes, I completely agree with you, Shreya. Public representatives, elected representatives, have far more responsibility, and they should, under any circumstances, not incite any kind of hate speech, which will lead to disruption of the political.
Okay. So is balance a smoke screen is a question we will talk about in just a bit. But since you said you're not aware of what Paramesh Verma said, he said the only way to teach Muslims a lesson is a complete boycott. You have someone called Yati Narsinghanand. Again, no action was taken against him till there was a push from the court. He's not an elected representative, but he said if Muslims become PM, if a Muslim becomes a PM, 50% Hindus will convert and 40% will die. Then you have Waris Pathan. As I said, hate speeches have come from both sides, but the maximum hate speeches have come from BJP leaders. Waris Pathan, AM leader, said we are 15 crore, but that can outweigh 100 crore. So that is something Waris Pathan had said as well. Akbaruddin Owaisi, I'm reading everyone, Dr. Shatorupa. I'm secular, and I'm a very proud liberal secular. Akbaruddin Owaisi, remove the police and we will wipe out 100 crore. So these are statements. These are statements that have been made by people in public life, Dr. Shatarupa, including your MP against whom your party has not done or said anything. Similarly with Mr. Kapil Mishra, similarly with other ministers who said, Desh ke gaddaro ko XYZ. Let me bring in Ashutosh here. Ashutosh, what's your reaction to what the Supreme Court has said today?
Can you give me a sentence?
Okay, go ahead.
All this? No, I understand that you're listing out a lot of people, but may I just remind you of three very, very small occasions. One is the BJP was quick to expel Nupur Sharma when she went completely out of hand. Number two is the Honorable Prime Minister himself never, ever encourages this kind of hate speech. And also, since we are talking about Hindus and Muslims, the RSS head, Mohan Bhagwatji, has also never done this. We very, very, very categorically said that we don't hate anybody. We want to run the country and we would like to do it in the nationalist way. So, I mean, you can keep on listing. I mean, not only you, anybody. There can be lists on both sides. But as a spokesperson, I am not going to justify every single speech. That's all. I mean, our party's line is very clear. We do not hate any one religion.
But to anyone watching, Ashutosh, hate speeches are the poison of choice for political parties in this country now. Dr. Shatorupa is saying what essentially Parvesh Verma said is unfortunate, but the Prime Minister doesn't do it. So why blame the BJP?
I wanted to welcome what Shatorupa has said. I want to welcome, but unfortunately I can't. For the simple reason, because Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of the country, the most powerful leader in the last 30 years. And Mohan Bhagwat is again the head of the Sangha Parivar family, the very powerful leader. I can understand they don't encourage, but why they don't take action against those who are spewing venom against the Muslim community? I can understand that they are not taking action against those who are spewing venom against the Hindus, but what about Paresh Verma? Why about Nupur Sharma? What about the young MP from Bangalore? And because of that, the government of India has to face embarrassment and humiliation from the Middle East countries. Similarly, with Nupur Sharma, Mohammed Zubair is arrested. He doesn't get bail for months. But Nupur Sharma, no action yet. Mr. Anurag Thakur, he was a minister of state. He openly incited people, but no action. Rather, he was promoted and he was given a high-profile job. Paresh Verma is a two-time member of parliament. He's not a kid. He's not a child. He knows what he's talking about, and he's a serial offender. During election, also he said something which I don't want to repeat, and again he said something. I don't want to repeat that. So the issue is why these BJP MPs and MLAs and office bearers, forget about those who are illiterates from the other communities, but why these people are holding constitutional positions? They are doing this. They are doing this for the simple reason because during the UP elections, Prime Minister recognizes those who are protesting through their clothes. Because Mr. Amit Shah, इतने जोर से तुम बटन दबाओ कि शाहीन बाग को जाके करंट लगे. From where this is coming? So I'm not.
But that is not a hate speech. No, but that is not a hate speech. I'm not a hate speech expert, Ashutosh, but that is again the question that will be asked. Where does freedom of speech end and hate speech begin? If you start taking what the Prime Minister and Mr. Amit Shah said as hate speech, then my God, the police will only be dealing with hate speeches. They will not have the time or the capacity or the resources to do anything else. So we also have to be careful about what we qualify as hate speech.
No. I think let's call a spade a spade. अगर देश के प्रधानमंत्री ये कहते हैं कि इनको तो कपड़ों से पहचान लेते हैं, what is he trying to say? What is he trying to say? जब आप कब्रिस्तान शमशान की बात करते हैं, जिस पर इलेक्शन कमीशन की नोटिस आती है, इसको क्या कहेंगे आप? अगर हेट स्पीच नहीं कहेंगे तो चलो forget it, hate speech. Let's cut it out. What is this? So my point is very simple. My point is simple. If any Muslim is indulging into hate speech, take action, stringent action. If any Hindu is indulging into the hate speech, take strict action. If any Christian is indulging, any Sikh is indulging, any Jain is indulging, take strict action. This should stop because this is sending a very wrong signal and this is dividing the society on the communal lines. And any day this can erupt into some kind of volcano and then it will be impossible to control by any government. So for God's sake, Supreme Court has finally risen, has realized that something wrong is going on. And I'm very happy that Supreme Court has said that if hate speech is made, no action is taken, that will consider as a contempt of the court. Now I have to see how many times and how many people were hauled up under the contempt of court. It is also a test of the Supreme Court.
Well, there are three police chiefs who have been issued a notice today: Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, and Delhi. Delhi in the case of Mr. Parvesh Verma. Mithun Vijay Kumar, come in here. The fact is that the problem is that hate speeches are made. All right, there are 1 billion plus people in this country. Many think that they have the freedom of expression, so they can say exactly what they want to do and say it. The problem is that they say it and no action is taken against them. You remember what happened with Yati Narsinganand? Yes. You remember what has happened with MP Parvesh Verma? Problem is that people in this country, especially can I just say this, that people from the Hindu community can go ahead and say exactly what they want to do against the Muslim community in this country, demonize them, call for their blood to be shed, etc., etc. But in the wisdom of things, we don't think it is right for any action to be taken against them.
Let's not bring in religion, Hindu, Muslim and all into this. In a democracy like ours, there is no space for any hate speech.
This is about Hindu and Muslim. No. Dekho,
Action must be taken
Mithun
against
Vijay
everyone.
Kumar, see, the point
Action
is,
must be-
the point is,
if you condemn Hindus, you
yes,
should also
but
condemn
this
the
is
speech
about
by
Hindus and
AIMIM.
Muslims.
Okay, in that case,
I
right
did.
from the Kashmiri exodus,
I
that
pointed it
started
out.
with,
I did.
yeah, so even I'm saying that I'm not supporting any particular religion or any particular community. I'm saying that in a democracy like ours, there is no space for any hate speech, and the Supreme Court order is the need of the hour. It's very true, and of course, the law enforcement agencies must not wait for anyone to lodge a complaint. But if you are in particular speaking about communities, then it goes back to even the Kashmiri exodus that started with inflammatory speeches against Hindus in the Muslim majority valley to the recent speeches. Everything must be condemned. If you have a huge list, let's read it out. There are many things that must be pointed out. There is no Hindu or Muslim in this. In a country like ours, there should be no space for hate speeches. But unfortunately, with the recent events, I see that there is some kind of recognition that is given to few people who make hate speeches. Like if you see in Rahul Gandhi's recent Bharat Jodo Yatra, you would have seen him taking lessons from Pastor George Ponnaiya, who was arrested for a hate speech. So more than the hate speech, what worries me the most is the selective outrage expressed by the so-called intellectuals or the seculars. So in a country like ours, we don't have any space for hate speech, be it Hindus or Muslims or anyone, and the action must be taken against whoever makes the hate speach. So there is no, religious divide or based on political divide. We don't have that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But no, there is a religious divide. No. Listen, Mr. Vijay Kumar, all of us are adults here and we know there is a religious divide. Hai na? Why plaster over that? Just such hai, wo such hai. And when you're saying why the selective outrage, what has Rahul Gandhi said? Did Rahul Gandhi say anything?
No, Rahul Gandhi was
Did he say boycott Muslims or boycott Christians?
No, Rahul Gandhi was taking lessons from George Ponnaiya, who was arrested for hate speech. What kind of appreciation is that for him?
Huh.
He was seen taking. You would have seen the video.
He was arrested, na.
He was arrested. He was left.
Yes, I did. He was arrested, na. Parvesh Marpa is still out there. Repeat offender and still out there.
The party that speaks so so deeply against Hindus or the Hindu hate speeches, they must also criticize the ones who are speaking against Hindus or who are on the other side. ऐसा क्यों है कि एक पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी को मतलब अपीसमेंट किया जा रहा है एंड हिंदूज को ही टारगेट करके हमेशा बोला जाता है एंड द होल स्पीचेस और एवरीथिंग all the discussions are targeted around Hindu hate speeches. Why are we not highlighting the Muslim hate speeches delivered in this country? There are plenty that I can read it out, from PFI to AIMIM. बहुत सारे हैं यहाँ पे. Why don't we speak about it?
This is called persecution.
No, we have spoken about it.
No, even in this particular discussion, we should bring that up, right?
Hindus are living in this country. The Prime Minister is a Hindu, the President is a Hindu, the Vice President is a Hindu, the Speaker is a Hindu.
That's the problem with the angle you're looking at it. That's the problem with the angle you're looking at things from.
Persecution complex coming out from the inferiority complex.
Do you remember?
Nothing else.
We had a Muslim president of India also.
Just because he became the prime minister, just because he became prime minister, he can't renounce Hinduism, right?
Powerful Hindu prime minister, and you are trying to tell the whole world that the Hindus are targeted.
You are looking at him as a Hindu prime minister, but for many Muslims, he is the prime minister. He is just a prime minister. For many Muslims in this country, he is a prime minister, but for you, he is a Hindu prime minister.
This is a typical persecution.
It's a problem with your perspective, sir. It's a problem with your perspective and not with the prime minister or anyone.
I thought you were educated.
It comes out it comes out because of the inferiority complex. Nothing else. The few individuals and a few organizations.
Discussion leading to. What are we talking about?
I'm also Hindu.
Okay, Ashutosh, give me a minute. Let me bring in Mahima here. Since, Rahul Gandhi has been dragged into this debate, I wasn't expecting it, but it has happened. So go ahead, Mahima. Defend your party since Rahul Gandhi has been accused of hobnobbing and taking lessons from a man who was arrested for hate speech. And good, he was arrested, but, well, the accusation against you is that the Congress party is the one encouraging it, not the BJP.
It is frivolous, laughable for us. And we have made our stance very clear on that. And on a day when the UN General Secretary, Mr. Guterres, has already 2 days ago red flagged our, honorable country, our beloved country, our diverse country on a global platform, saying that, we are not protecting our minorities enough. We are an elected member of the Human Rights Council in the United Nations. On a day like this, I would not like to. I understand their pain about the Bharat Jodo Yatra, but I am not going to let this get deviated today. It is indeed about, the question that this political analyst, my fellow panelist, was asking about why is it about a certain community. Well, Mr. Yogi Adityanath's one of those fragments of speeches, which I found very provocative, where he said मुकाबला चुनाव जो है वो 80% और 20% के बीच है. I think this quite answers his anxiety and curiosity, because yes, the Constitution of India protects the people of this country. The Supreme Court has intervened today and has shown urgency, pointing out to that very need that that the police and governments of this country need to protect the fundamental rights of this country, need to uphold and serve to the constitutional provisions of this country. So my point here is, Shreya, that when we are having this debate today, we are about to end this year 2022, which started with controversies around Dharm Sansads, wherein army personnel, wherein advocates where former judges, where the intellectuals of this country wrote to the Supreme Court saying that we need to stop this. I am reminded of the Ram Navami visuals from the April earlier this year. I am reminded of, the Gujarat Garba ban recently. I am reminded of, when I think of
Well,
myself.
in the last 7 years, India has seen a 500% rise in cases filed under its hate speech law. But technically, coming here, Mr. Jha, technically, we don't have a law that deals specifically with hate speeches. Today, a suggestion made in the court was, the request made by the petitioner in court was that slap people who make hate speeches with UAPA. But UAPA itself is such a discredited law. A law that was meant to tackle terrorism is now being used to tackle dissent. Its conviction rate is less than 3%. Will that help solve the problem? Will what the Supreme Court has done and said today help solve the problem of hate speeches? And as I'm saying, data is telling us that in the last 7 years, India has seen a 500% rise in cases filed against hate speeches.
Shreya, first and foremost, I need to congratulate you and thank you for holding a program on what the Supreme Court said today. Because I can tell you the mainstream media will have a big role to play if India does not become such a divided country. Now, let's bite the bullet here. I'm not going to pussyfoot around. Let's bite the bullet. The Supreme Court's statements today should make the BJP and Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah hang their head in shame. The Supreme Court is literally reading out the constitutional rights of Indian citizens, and it is telling the government that you are silent, which is basically saying, in short, that Mr. Modi's government is brazenly ignoring the individual human rights of citizens in this country, whichever religion they come from. And let me tell you this, let us not try and pretend this is dog whistle politics. Mr. Narendra Modi and Mr. Amit Shah have encouraged it. I don't know how Ashutosh said, they are not encouraging it. Of course they are. It is called dog whistle politics. Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah take no action, right? You have cited some instances. I can tell you, as you rightly mentioned, the staggering statistic. There is a laundry list of violations. And have you seen any real tangible action? Have you heard Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah say anything at all? They don't. Because this is their politics of divide, because that's the only way the BJP can win an election, which brings us to the fundamental point that will this change? I don't think so. I'll tell you why it won't change. Because bottom line, as far as the BJP is concerned, this is their only basis on which they survive as a political entity. And I can tell you, as I think the Congress spokesperson rightly mentioned, you have a UN Secretary General. I remember Barack Obama, who came visiting India for the Republic Day, went back and castigated the kind of religious polarization happening in India. So the Indian brand is destroyed, Shreya. Let's agree with that. And I can tell you this, and I'm putting it down in black and white. Mr. Modi is the most divisive leader India has ever produced. I don't think, if you look at the speeches of any other prime minister in this country, no matter what their politics, they haven't wanted to fracture and create fissures in our own society. But here is Mr. Modi, who wins elections. He's again doing some major religious travel, as we all know about. And the entire game plan is very straightforward. Play to the Hindutva mobilization and move on. And my piece of advice to the BJP spokesperson, If you haven't read Parvesh Verma's speech, you're a terribly ill-prepared individual who should not be on the show. And may I request you, Shreya, tell her to take a break, read Mr. Parvesh Sharma's speech, hear it, and then come back and answer your question.
Okay, we leave it there. But Dr. Shatorupa, I would want you to respond to what everyone on this panel has said. For me, for you to say you don't know what your MP has said is slightly shocking, because everyone in this country who reads a newspaper knows what he has said. But the finger that is being pointed out and the data that is coming out of the last 7 years is pointing a finger at the BJP and the atmosphere they have created in this country.
No, the BJP is always being blamed for divisive politics, and it's not really very fair, because the entire country was divided on the basis of religion in 1947. BJP came in much later. That time it was the Congress. So it's not very fair to constantly point guns at the BJP just because the BJP talks about the Hindus. And I really don't understand why that should be such a shame. Yes, the Prime Minister is a very proud Hindu. Yes, Amit Shah ji, the Home Minister, is a very proud Hindu. But that does not mean that we denounce any other religion. What is the harm in wearing your religion on your heart, on the sleeve, on your head, everywhere? We are very proud of that.
No, Dr. Shatorupa. No, that's not the point.
Any other religion. In fact,
that's not the point.
The BJP,
I'm also a very proud Hindu.
Which has, fine. So
Ashutosh is also a very proud Hindu. And Sanjay Jha is also a very proud Hindu. It's not a question of being a proud Hindu. We are all proud Hindus. We are all patriots here. We all love this country. The problem is with the speeches that are made demonizing Muslims in this country.
Then you should be the best possible secular person, because the Hindus of all over the world, we are in all views of religion. It is the Muslims who've been constantly meting out hate. Yes, there may have been certain reactions. I am completely aware of what everybody talks about. And my level of information is to be judged by my party. I don't think I should be taking advice from anybody else here.
Okay.
Again, I would like to reiterate that
we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there for the moment, Dr. Shatorupa. All right. I have 20 seconds. I have 20 seconds, and did Sanjay Jha raise his hand? I think he did. 20 seconds, Sanjay, I'm out of time.
Shreya, let me tell you, the political leadership of this country wants a fractured India. That's the truth. And you want to look at track record, go back to the Gujarat 2002 riots. And don't come here on the show and bluff. Don't come here on the show and pretend that you don't know what Parvesh Verma said. These are old tricks. They don't work anymore. We need to call you out, because your true credentials have been exposed today, that you're still playing religious polarization on the show. Shame on you. And this is the Supreme Court, by the way.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Dr. Shatorupa. Thank you very much for being with us. Mithun Vijay Kumar, thank you very much. Ashutosh ji, thank you very much. Sanjay Jha, good to have you on the show. And Advocate Mahima Singh, thank you very much as well. And a very, very happy Diwali to all of you as well, and to our viewers. Thanks for watching. Thanks.